These are photos with absolutely haunting backstories, part 1. Up first is the Cooper family photo. In the 1950s, the Cooper family moved into their new home and took a photograph to celebrate. However, the image was developed and they were confronted by this falling man, who many to believe was the former owner of the house. But nobody saw the man fall or heard it. They only realized it when they looked at the photo after it was developed. This is absolutely terrifying and I would immediately move out. Next up is the ghost of Freddie Jackson. This image was taken by Sir Victor Goddard of his squadron in 1919. The ghostly image is said to be Freddie Jackson, and Jackson died a few days before this photo was taken by walking into a moving propeller. If you look closely, you can see the ghost of Freddie Jackson behind this man. Next up is the Amityville ghost. This photo, taken by Ed and Lorraine Warren, claimed to show the ghost of a 9-year-old John Defoe. Defoe, along with his older brother, 2 sisters, and parents, were killed by his older brother Renaud at their house in Amityville. Ed and Lorraine Warren were paranormal experts who entered the house and captured this image using a camera that consistently took infrared photos during the night. Next up is the photo of Grandpa's ghost. Somehow this lady's husband managed to appear in this photo despite dying 7 years before. Denise Russell took this photo of her grandma, who lived alone at the time, on August 17, 1997.
People who got plastic surgery to look like celebrities. Jordan James Parker tried to look like Kim Kardashian, and now looks like this. Toby Sheldon tried to look like Justin Bieber, and now looks like this. Henry Rodriguez tried to look like Red Skull, and now looks like this. Sahad Tabar tried to look like Angelina Jolie, and now looks like this. Venus Delight tried to look like Madonna, and now looks like this. Jack Johnson tried to look like David Beckham, and now looks like this.
This boy lived in a bubble for 12 years. When David was born, he had a condition that gave him a weak immune system and needed a suitable person to donate their bone marrow to him. So to keep him alive, his parents kept him in a bubble, and after 12 years, they found a donor and David could finally leave the bubble. But sadly, after he left, he fell ill and passed away shortly.
What monster plans the murder of their child on Halloween? This disturbed man named Ronald Clark O'Brien. On Halloween in 1974 in Deer Park, Texas, Ronald took his 8-year-old son's life by giving him this candy that was filled with cyanide. From the outside in, Ronald seemed to have a pretty good life. He was married and had 2 kids, Timothy, who was 8 years old, and his daughter Elizabeth. He had a great job as an eye doctor, but Ronald was $94,000 in debt and he needed a way out. On this night, Ronald took his 2 kids to go trick-or-treating, and along came his neighbor with his kids as well. The routine that night was that Ronald would walk to the front doorstep with the kids to collect the candy while his neighbor stayed behind. In one of those house visits, Ronald managed to slip a few pixie sticks filled with cyanide in the kids' candy bag and made it seem like one of the houses gave it to them. When the kids got home, Timothy asked his father to open some candy, and Ronald purposely opened a pixie stick and gave it to Timothy and watched him eat it. Within just 1 hour, Timothy became extremely sick and passed away in the ambulance. Medical records quickly revealed that Timothy was poisoned with cyanide. Once they discovered that the cyanide was inside this specific candy, Ronald claimed that he got it from a house that they visited on that night. But after investigating, they discovered that no one was even in that house on that night, so Ronald was lying. The investigation turned towards Ronald and they discovered that he was asking around where he could find cyanide. But he became even more suspicious when they found out that he was in so much debt and that he took out a $20,000 life insurance policy on both his kids. And he took out this policy a month before Timothy passed away. And it gets worse. Ronald also called the life insurance company the morning after Timothy passed away to collect the money. He was charged with 1 count of murder and 4 counts of attempted murder and was sentenced to death. Ronald was executed in 1984, but he kept his innocence until the day he died.
People with the largest body part. Part 2.
Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, run, run. Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, run, run.
Imagine you're asleep at a hotel and you hear a noise and this is what you see. This is the urban legend of a woman named Barbara Q who was supposedly super evil. This happened in the 1970s in Louisiana and she happened to own, it was like a hotel and breakfast place. She was known to be super nice, everybody liked her, but what they liked the most was her breakfast stew. This stew was super popular, everyone from around the world would come eat it. This story takes a dark turn when a traveler named Ray checks in the hotel. This happened in September of 1972 and he just came across her hotel and decided to come in. However, she started acting super weird. She weirdly asked the man if anybody knew he was there. He was confused for a while, but then he said no, which was very odd. He was peacefully sleeping when all of a sudden he's awakened by a weird noise. The noise was coming from the hallway. He turned on the light and this is what he saw. Barbara standing right at the feet of the bed. She was arrested and told the cops that they usually don't fight back. He was talking about the travelers. And she confessed that the reason why her beef stew was super good was because she used people for it. What do we think about this crazy urban legend?
This man who R-ed and took the life of a 3-year-old girl in 2023 was recently found unalived in prison. Last year in July, 3-year-old Josephina Cunningham was left in the care of 34-year-old Robert Fisher after him and her mother became friends. While Robert babysat Josephina, he drugged and then R-ed her. The details in this case are very graphic and unfortunately, beautiful 3-year-old Josephina did not make it. Robert was sentenced on September 10th of this year to 20 years to life in prison. But less than 2 months of him being at Elmira Correctional Facility in New York, Robert was found unalived. Now, even though they have not revealed the specific details of what happened to Robert, we all pretty much know what happens to these kind of people in prison. Okay, and what's shocking is that on October 22nd, Robert wasn't the only inmate found unalived in this prison. 51-year-old William, who was serving a 10-year sentence for having inappropriate contact with an 11-year-old, was also found unalived just 1 hour after Robert was found.
This family vanished inside their own home. This is the disturbing disappearance of the Sanchez family. In the hills of Oaxaca, Mexico, there's a house no one dares to enter. The Sanchez family had vanished overnight. No bodies, no trace of mom and dad, no nothing. When police entered the home, they found dinner still hot on the table, the stove was on, but there wasn't any sign of the family. All the family's shoes were actually in the living room. However, they did find some disturbing writing in red letters. It said, "Nos llevó el mismo el que se llevó a los del rancho," meaning the same ones that took the people from the ranch took us as well. People believe that the father had discovered bones wrapped in cloth beneath the surface of the house during some home renovations. After that night, the dogs would howl non-stop, the air was thick, and the family had just disappeared. The case was completely closed. No leads, no clues, no nothing. Just pure silence. Some people say that if you pass by at night, you can hear children crying and laughing. And the Sanchez family was never found.
This story blows my mind. A TikTok plastic surgeon, yes, that's apparently a thing, she was stripped of her medical license. So this is Dr. Roxy, seen here doing lots and lots of TikTok dances. She was accused of injuring her patients while she was live streaming her surgeries to TikTok. She would also post a lot of behind the scenes footage in the operating room. Like, what the Like, you can't make this stuff up. Now, allegedly, she would get permission from her patients before she did this stuff, but the Ohio State Medical Board apparently warned her that it is wrong to live stream your surgeries. But I guess she was like, nah, that. I need the validation. And she just kept doing it anyway. And she allegedly ended up botching some of those surgeries. Oh, it gets worse. Like, let me quote the complaint directly. One patient suffered a perforated small bowel and a soft tissue infection after Dr. Roxy was looking into the camera while performing liposuction.
Yikes.
So I guess she would be doing liposuction while reading and responding to comments on the live stream. I mean, one patient even made a TikTok herself about the complication she had from the surgery.
I'm probably gonna lose my job over this, so don't know what I'm gonna do.
Like, yeah, like I'm making a lot of jokes, but like, it's actually really sad. So there are a lot of doctors on TikTok who I watch and respect. Like Dr. Dana, I think handles her social media very well. This guy, Dr. Farhan, I really like. Like, there are some really good ones. But when I see doctors like doing the TikTok dances in uniform while at work, that just makes me nervous as f. Like, I'm not trying to keep anyone from having fun at work. I'm just saying it makes me nervous. Some jobs, they just seem so professional. It feels weird to mix them with silly TikTok dances. But that's just my personal bias. That's beside the point. My point is, if the medical board of your state tells you not to live stream your surgeries, then like, maybe you shouldn't live stream your surgeries.
There are crazy things happening in the world right now. The man who won over $2 billion in the Powerball jackpot only took home $628 million. Dang, poor guy. Thieves in Florida stole hundreds of shoes by cutting a hole in the top of the ceiling of the mall. A Domino's employee hiked over 6 hours to deliver a pizza to someone climbing Mount Fuji. And if you were wondering, the pizza came out to $962. For the first time ever, there was a frog that was found with eyes inside of its mouth due to a rare genetic mutation. What? An astrophysicist came out and said that there are 1 to 2 Starlink satellites falling down onto Earth per day. The first ever orange shark found on Earth was just discovered off the coast of Costa Rica. Dogs in Chernobyl are now turning blue. Tom Brady cloned his former dog that passed away 2 years ago. The number of journalists that focus on local events has dropped by 75% in the last 20 years.
Most dangerous places on Earth. North Sentinel Island. This place is home to the Sentinelese, one of the last tribal people to remain isolated from the modern world. There is estimated to be anywhere between 15 to 500 members, and they are not friendly to outsiders. Once, 2 men were illegally fishing in the waters surrounding the island. They both got really drunk and fell asleep on their boat, which washed ashore in the night. The tribe attacked the 2 men with bows and spears, killing them both. Recently, missionary John Allen Chow hired a fisherman to smuggle him onto the island in hopes of converting the tribe to Christianity. He wrote in his journal, "I don't want to die. Would it be wiser to leave and let someone else continue? No, I don't think so." Unfortunately, the next day, John was believed to have been hit by a volley of arrows and killed. His body has still not been recovered and is believed to have been buried on the island.
Dumbest criminals caught red-handed. Jacob decided to break into a house and went to steal everything he could. However, after he completed his crime and left, he was immediately caught by the police. Turns out, before he left the house, he logged on to his Facebook using the homeowner's computer and forgot to log out.
These are the top 3 most haunted places in the US. Before I tell you what, make sure to follow and like so everybody can see this. The St. Louis Cemetery in New Orleans is super creepy. There are more than 100,000 people buried here. Visitors often encounter Mary Laval, the Voodoo Queen's spirit. Not only her spirit, but many other souls. You are not allowed to visit this place unless you're with a guide. Charter Street Cemetery, Salem, Massachusetts. This is where the Salem witch trials happened. Hundreds of witches are buried here. People often encounter hauntings while they visit. Sleepy Hollow, New York. Sleepy Hollow is a tiny town on the outskirts of New York. Visitors often see the Headless Horseman here. Make sure to share this with a friend.
So I'm house sitting for my brother. He has a cat, okay? I keep hearing something running up and down the stairs. I'm just sitting here because he has a new dryer coming and he's at work. But like I said, the cat's right here, right? Okay? I'm going to record and see if I can get this noise again because the stairs are right here. I'm not going down there. Buddy, you're no help. I guess he's just used to this. The stairs have stopped. No way, no way, no way. No way. Oh my God. Oh my God, this is my shit. Look, prove that I'm here by myself. Oh my God. So it's been like 10 minutes since the door slammed. Buddy's purring and chill now, so I'm hiding. But I gotta go open the door again at some point because that's where his litter box is at, so. Buddy, you think you can hold it till Dad gets home? Buddy, are you just glad you're not here by yourself? Because same, I'm glad you're here because I don't like this. Dad needs to hurry up, doesn't he? Yeah.
This ice cream shop owner's secret ingredient was truly disturbing. Jack Hoffman owned the Sugar Rush, a wildly successful ice cream shop in Miami during the 1980s. He was a local celebrity, even making an appearance in a Bee Gees music video. Everyone adored him, and his famous catchphrase, "My milkshakes bring all the boys to the yard." There was something about his ice cream that left people craving more. Customers returned multiple times a day, unable to resist. When asked what made his ice cream so irresistible, Jack always replied, "It's my secret ingredient." One day, a local food inspector entered the shop undercover, ordering a simple cone for the hefty price of $69. He enjoyed it, but didn't understand the obsession. That night, he went home, but was soon jolted awake by an intense craving for more ice cream. The urge was so overpowering that he drove to the Sugar Rush at 3 a.m., despite it being closed. When he arrived, he spotted Jack Hoffman in the back alley by the dumpster, talking to a suspicious man. Hidden in the shadows, the inspector remained unnoticed, until his stomach started gurgling loudly. Jack and the mysterious man froze, turning their gaze directly toward him. This was the most dangerous man to have ever stepped foot on Earth, and he was kinda cute. During the 1930s, a man named Hume-chimp was arrested for taking the lives of over 200 people with just his thumb. In 1934, he escaped his first prison by flushing himself down the toilet and crawling miles through the sewage system. But 67 days later, he was captured after attempting to apply for a job at the same prison he escaped from. He was then sent to Gilligan's Island Penitentiary, which was the most secure prison in the world, hundreds of miles away from civilization. Hugh was kept in the basement of the prison, isolated from the other prisoners in fear for their safety. But in the year 1949, the prison was hit by a massive tsunami and was buried underneath the sea. 5 years later, the prison would finally re-emerge, and investigators were safe to enter the prison again. They would end up finding the remains of all the prisoners and guards, but when they went down to the basement where Hugh was kept, they would quickly realize they were not as safe as they once thought.
Here's some stuff you probably didn't know about The Wizard of Oz. The movie is the cause of Judy Garland's death. Since Dorothy was supposed to be a prepubescent girl, the studio execs forced Garland to wear a tight corset around her waist. She was also prescribed amphetamines to keep her weight down. She became addicted to these drugs and started using them recreationally for the rest of her life, and eventually they killed her. While filming a scene with Dorothy and the lion, Judy couldn't stop giggling. After several ruined takes, the director slapped her across the face, and the next time she attempted the scene, she did it perfectly. It is also rumored she was molested by the Munchkins, saying they would make her life miserable on set because they would put their hands up her dress. Keep in mind, these men were also 40 or more years old. The Wicked Witch of the West actually suffered a 2nd-degree burn on her face and a 3rd-degree burn on her hand while filming her character's fiery exit, like for part 2.
always talks about Annabelle, but there are so many other terrifying objects inside of the Warren Museum, like their shadow doll that can be used for curses. Also follow along if you want me to go through more of their collection. Now, according to the Warren files, the origins of the shadow doll are a little murky, but the story goes that a couple found it inside of an antique shop and brought it home with them. And immediately they started noticing that something was wrong with it. They would wake up in the middle of the night with mysterious scratches and bruises all over their body. And also, the closer they looked at it, the more they could tell that it was made with real human and animal materials. Like you can see here, it has black crow feathers all around its head, but it also has one real human tooth lodged inside of its mouth. They also realized that this doll can be used to perform curses. If you take a picture of it, print out the photo, write someone's name on the back and mail it to them, that is how you do the shadow doll curse. And what this basically does is that person will then start having nightmares about the shadow doll, and when the shadow doll is in your dreams or nightmares, that is how it can kill you. Now, I talked about this doll in this episode that I did over the summer on Annabelle's whole curse tour that she was doing, but this is one of the objects from the Warren Museum that they take on tour, so you can go see this thing out in the wild. But yeah, while everyone's focused on Annabelle, there's other really freaky things that are inside of that museum. I never knew how incredibly common it was for people to dump human remains inside of the Disney parks. But it's so common they even have a code word for when it happens, and this is part of a long list of code words that Disney has for when morbid things happen in the park, and I want to share some of my favorites with you. Also, I cover stuff that's morbid but interesting, so follow along. So if you hear the words code white powder or code grandma said at Disney, it means that someone has dumped cremains near you. Employees have also said that this happens so often at Disney, and every time it does, those remains end up in the garbage. Apparently, they're supposed to call the Ghostbusters when this happens, which is just a custodian that shows up in a hazmat suit and has a little mini vacuum with him. And he vacuums everything up, throws it in the garbage, and says, "Sorry, Grandma." Another very common code is a protein spill or a code V, which just means that someone has thrown up in the park, and they say that one happens all the time as well. But they also say a code that doesn't get picked up on a lot is when an employee calls a guest our most treasured guest. That pretty much universally means that you are being a nightmare and they wish that you would leave. And this one I couldn't confirm was at Disney, but it came from someone who was talking about theme park codes on a Reddit thread. And they said, "I worked at an Orlando theme park. Our saddest code was an 82. It meant a rider was too large for the seat and they were either stuck or causing a scene and refusing to move from the loading station. It was called an 82 because they ate too much."
This guy was kayaking with his family when a humpback whale swallowed him, and it was all caught on camera. Let me explain. This here is Del Simancas, and he and his son Aaron decided to do a little father-son bonding by going kayaking off the coast of Chile. Everything was going well, the weather was nice, and the water was calm, and they looked like they were having a pretty good time. That's when, quite literally out of the blue, a humpback whale surfaces and literally inhales Adrian and his kayak. Thankfully, after a few seconds, the whale spat him out and he resurfaced. And while all of this was going down, Del remained in a surprisingly calm state and recorded this all on his camera. In the footage, you can hear Del tell his son to stay calm. Hey! Ya, vente, vente! And Adrian manages to safely swim to his dad's kayak, and they both make it back in one piece. Now, after the incident, Adrian said that he didn't think he was going to make it. He thought the whale had swallowed him whole, and it was going after his dad next. But now he and his father have bravely decided to share the footage to show people that you can in fact survive getting swallowed by a whale.
Dark crossbreeding experiments, part 1. It's believed that this chimp is half human, half chimp. His name is Oliver the chimpanzee, and he was very popular in the 1970s. But quickly people realized that there was something wrong with him. He wasn't like a normal chimp. For starters, he preferred to walk on his 2 legs. Then we have the fact that his face was more flatter than a normal chimpanzee, and he preferred human females over female chimps. He also understood English pretty well. So, rumor has it that he's a humanzee, a human-chimpanzee weird hybrid. Has no one seen Planet of the Apes? Come on, people! Make sure to like and follow for more videos like this. Also, follow me on YouTube. Link in bio, come on.
How babies see the world.
These guys used a thermal energy camera to prove that one of their dolls was haunted. This camera will pick up anything that emits heat. And out of nowhere, this doll was being picked up on camera. Check it out. No, sorry. It even looks like a scary cursed doll. Throw it away. I don't like it.
What is going on around the world right now? In Norway, children are not graded on their work until they're about 12 or 13 years old, so they just learn all day. According to this graph from the World Bank, the progress against extreme poverty has slowed down and is projected to end. Bhutan has been the world's only carbon negative country since 2017. There was a dude in a very, 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 very northern part of Canada that just recently got the Starlink satellite dish and unlocked Wi-Fi for himself and decided that everyone in his neighborhood needed it and just called it free Wi-Fi because I guess everyone there feels that Wi-Fi is a premium and he wanted people to know that it was actually easy to get. The India-Pakistan border glows so brightly that it's visible from space. And this is because 150,000 floodlights are installed by India along the frontier. Italy's oldest barista, who has served coffee since World War II, just turned 101 years old recently. It is apparently illegal for employers in Portugal to contact employees after work hours. Apparently, if you were to visit one lake per day in Canada, it would take you 5,000 years to visit all of them. 60% of all lakes on Earth are in Canada, apparently. What?